Rahim. Welcome to my English Learning Club. So, my dear friends, today we are going to have a discussion on morpheme. In our commission exams, some of the questions come from linguistics. So, there is a term morpheme that also comes in linguistics papers that you must know about these things before appearing in your competitive examinations. So let's discuss morpheme. Morpheme is smallest unit of meaning. It means it cannot be divided into meaningful parts. So point number 1. Point number 2, you have to understand that a morpheme can be a word or a part of a word. So let's take an example. So morpheme can be a word or a part of word, or it is the smallest unit of meaning. Let's take an example of word bat. So bat is a morpheme as well as a word. Run is a morpheme as well as a word. Let's take an example of other word like return. Return. So re and turn. So there are two morphemes. One is re and other is turn. So turn is a free morpheme and re is a bound morpheme. So re cannot give meaning itself if it is not attached to a free morpheme. So let's talk about free morpheme. A free morpheme is a morpheme that can stand alone, that can give you a complete meaning without support of any other part. For example, play. For example, run. For example, talk. For example, work. So these all are free morphemes. But if you talk about bound morpheme cannot give you a complete meaning if they are separated from free morpheme. If you separate er from teacher, like teach and er, so er is a bound morpheme, but it cannot give its meaning if it is not attached to teacher. So this way, bound morpheme is a morpheme that cannot give you complete meaning, or it depends on free morpheme to give its meaning. Let's talk about types of free morphemes. There are two types of free morphemes known as lexical morpheme and functional morpheme. You might be thinking, what is the difference between them? Yes, there is a great difference between them. Lexical morphemes make up the great number of vocabulary in English language. For example, these are the words, they are also known as content words. They are also the words, when you say those words, when you utter those words, they create a kind of picture in your mind. Let's take an example. If I say the word house, so there is a picture of house in your mind. Let's take an example of word tree. So there is an example of tree. Let's take an example of fly. So fly is also a free morpheme or lexical morpheme. So lexical morphemes are those morphemes that create an image or picture in your mind. Okay, let's talk about functional morphemes. Functional morphemes are those morphemes that actually known for their functions. They are also known as grammatical morphemes. Lexical morphemes are also known, you can also divide these parts of speech into lexical and functional morphemes, like noun, verb, adverb, and adjectives are lexical morphemes. And on daily basis or on regular basis, there is an increase of lexical morphemes. New words, new verbs, new adjectives, and adverbs are coming into English vocabulary. That's why they are known open class, means it is open, and many new words can be added in the future, and they are also being added now. Functional morphemes are the morphemes that are known for their functions, like prepositions. They tell you position, time, direction, and a connection with different words. Conjunction is a word that joins two words, two phrases, or two sentences. Pronoun comes in place of noun, personal pronouns, they all are functional morpheme, and articles. So this class is also known as a closed class. Why closed class? Because you cannot further add any more words to this class. That's why it is a closed class. Let's talk about the other type of morpheme, that is bound morpheme. Bound morpheme cannot stand alone. It cannot give you a complete meaning without a free morpheme. It depends on free morphemes to give meaning. Let's take an example of the word worker. So when you say worker, so there is a word work and er, worker. So er is a bound morpheme. It cannot give its meaning unless it is attached to a verb or word work. So worker. This way there are so many words like teacher, player, talker, speaker, runner. So there are so many other words that can be added to a root to make new words. Now we will talk about types of bound morphemes. Bound morphemes are divided into two types, that are inflectional morphemes and derivational morphemes. First, we are going to discuss inflectional morphemes. In English language, there are only 8 inflectional morphemes. There are 2 are nouns, and 4 are verbs, and 2 are adjectives, or adjectival, you can say. With noun we use as to make plural of any word, like bird, birds, like boy, boys, like bus, buses, like Kate, Kates. So this way there is also a possessive case of noun, like Ali's car, Ahmed's house, Asad's attitude. This way they are also used for possessive case of noun to show position or relation, and they are also used with verbs as well, like s is used with present definite tense, ing form is used with in present continuous tenses or past continuous tenses, or means all progressive tenses use ing form of verb. They are attached to a verb, and ed is used to form regular forms of verb, like of love, loved, play, played. So ed is added to make second and third form of a verb, and en is also used to make irregular forms of verbs, like eat, eaten, Okay, shorten. Okay, let's talk about adjectives. In adjectives, there are two inflectional morphemes that are used. That is, one is used for comparative degree of adjective, another is used for superlative degrees of adjective. Like there is a word bigger, so it's a comparative degree, er, and biggest, the superlative degrees. One thing more that you have to keep in mind, that when you are using inflectional morphemes to any root word, when you add them, you cannot further add any derivational morpheme after them. So this way, they further you cannot make addition. Okay. So let's discuss the last kind of morpheme, that is derivational morpheme. It is a second type of bound morpheme. Derivational morphemes are those morphemes, they are all suffixes and prefixes. Remember, inflectional morphemes are all suffixes, they are not prefixes. They are all suffixes. They are 8 in number and they are all suffixes. 2 with noun, 4 with verb, and 2 with adjective. So there are only 8. So derivational morphemes are of also 2 types. Derivational morphemes makes your suffixes, your prefixes, your infixes. These all are derivational morphemes. Word class changing morphemes. A morpheme that changes the word class, changes the parts of speech of the word, you can call it a word class changing morpheme. Like here is a word able. If you say inable, so able was adjective, and now it became enable, means to make somebody able. Your course, your lecture on English enabled me to understand linguistics terms. Class maintaining morpheme. A morpheme that does not change the category or the class of word or parts of speech is also known as class maintaining morpheme. Let's take an example of the word friend. So friend is a noun. So if you say friendship, if you add ship as a suffix to the word friend, so it is not changing its class. Okay, like boy, boyhood. Okay, so this way, neighbor, neighborhood. So this way they are also known as class maintaining morphemes. Okay, let's talk about the differences of morpheme and allomorph. Morph is a physical form of a morpheme. So physical form of morpheme. Let's take an example of word cat. So cat has one morph and one morpheme. Okay, means cat is indicating one meaning and it has a physical form like cat. Let's take an example of a morph in which there is a one morph but 2 morphemes. Yes, it is possible. Let's take an example of word sheep. So sheep is a morph because it can be written SHEEP, sheep. But remember, it gives 2 meaning. How? If it is giving 2 meaning, it means it has 2 morphemes. One morpheme is talking about a particular animal. The other is telling that they are in plural form. Like, I have seen the sheep. I have seen many sheep. So in the second sentence you can notice sheep is used as a plural and it is telling you 2 meanings, that they are not one but more than one. So when there is a morph, one morph is giving two morphemes. So in one morph there are two morphemes. One is giving you meaning about an animal, another is telling you about its plurals. So morpheme, it is very clear that it is a part of a word. It is divided into free and bound, or it is the smallest unit of meaning. It cannot further be divided into more meaningful units. Let's talk about polymorph. In the word Kate, cats, there are two morphemes, S and Kate. So Kate is telling you about meaning of an animal, and S is showing about plural. But this phonetic variation in between the two, the difference between the two, like suppose buses, when you say word S or ES, is actually giving you different variety of sound. In the first it is S, cats. In the second it is buses, Z. So there is a sound, S is giving you the sound of Z. So in that variation, when there is a phonetic variation of same phoneme in different words, or same phoneme is giving a variation of meanings or variation of sound, meaning not variation of sounds or phonetic variation, it can be called polymorph. Let's take an example of word stop. When you add ed to stop, so it will give you a sound of ta, like stopped, STOOPED, stopped. It is giving you the sound of ta in the end. Stopped. It is not stopped, it's stopped. So in this way, ed can also give you the sound of the, id, for example, played, loved. So here it is giving you a sound of a different variation of sound or different phonetic variation in the phoneme. So that is the different variation in the same phoneme is known as polymorph. So I think you can also test yourself. So let's take an example. Let's test yourself through these examples. Okay, list the bound morpheme in these words. Let's check them first. I'm giving you 2 seconds. Check it. Okay, I think you have checked it. So lace is a bound morpheme in fearlessly. Lace, lee, they both are free bound morphemes. Miss is a bound morpheme. Lead is a free morpheme. S is inflectional morpheme. It is also bound morpheme. So short, free morpheme. And shorten, bound morpheme. Ed, bound morpheme. Unbound morpheme. Er, bound morpheme. Which of these words has a bound stem construction? It is not always the case that you have to combine free morpheme with a bound morpheme to form new words, but sometimes you have different combinations. For example, in the case of word deceive, if you divide this word into two parts, you will have deceive. So both parts give no meaning because they both are bound morphemes. So this type of combination in English language is known as bound stem construction. Okay, like repeat. So repeat, receive. So in that situation, they give you, if you separate them, there is no free morpheme in them. They are actually combination of two bound morphemes, or they are known as a bound stem construction. Which of these words contain an allomorph of the morpheme past tense? Like R, if you look at R, if you think about its past tense, so it will give you were, a different sound. Are, were, have, had. So different variation of sound in the words is showing allomorph. Okay, what are the inflectional morphemes in these expressions? Okay, you can see that eat is a free morpheme, en is a inflectional morpheme. Okay, waiting, so you say ing form is an inflectional morpheme, you know it. Okay, and if you look at the word, he is younger than me and always dresses in the latest style. So younger, er, it's a comparative degree, so you say it's inflectional morpheme. And latest, est in latest is inflectional morpheme. And we looked through the grandmother's old photo, so looked, ed, is inflectional morpheme for second form of verb. And grandmother's s with apostrophe is inflectional morpheme showing position. Okay, we looked through my grandmother's old photo albums. So I hope you understand this lecture. Actually, I have recorded this video in the park, so if there is any inconvenience, I'm sorry for that. But if you like it, please say in comments and tell me about your response, or tell me about this video. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe to the channel. Here I end my class. Have a good time.